Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm your host here, Chantele Francis, with my co-host right over here. We have her. She's back. She's back today. We have Brazil. How are you doing, Brazil?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Glad to have you back. We have an extra episode this week, so I thought we'd have an extra conversation about it this week. So if this is your first time on Reality Realness, well, then welcome. We are so happy to have you. Please do us a favor and subscribe right down over there. We're doing our best to get to 1,000 subscribers. And if we could do it by the end of the year, then 2020 was better than we thought it would be. If I could get to 1,000 subscribers, all of us, we put in so much work this whole pandemic with getting episodes out every day, pretty much, for the last few months, that we'd love to be rewarded with 1,000 subscribers. So please help us out there. So what we're talking about today is episode 10 of The Bachelorette. Now, I thought it was just going to be the men tell all, but it actually had a little bit of an episode beforehand. So what do you think about episode 10? On the whole, generally.
Like on a scale of 1 to 10,
Yeah,
maybe a 6.
Yeah.
It didn't have that men tell all or women tell all feel to it. Like it wasn't as explosive as I normally like it to be. So
It's true. It could be because there was no audience, because that's one thing that I noticed about the men tell all.
Yeah.
All is that they're in the audience and they go and they call it like Cindy, Janine, and like the audience is usually like woo, and like they applaud, and you can tell who's like fan favorites or not by the applause that they get. And so it was just like silent, so you could just tell that it was very COVID season without having any audience there to give them any cheering,
Yeah.
So this was supposed to be a special dramatic episode of The Bachelorette. Did you find it particularly dramatic? No. No, you did not.
No. Not at all. I was like,
what happened to
knew this was going to happen, knew this was going to happen, knew this was going to happen.
Pretty much. Did you notice, though, what book she was reading? I was trying to
remember
what book she was reading. When the first scene, we have her like sitting down on the couch and she picks up a book and opens it up. And I felt it said like Emily on the top. I don't know if it was like Emily Bronte or if it didn't say Emily at all. Could you tell?
I'm going to look right now. Is it the opening scene? Because I can pause it on YouTube TV.
I was trying to pause it, but like I wasn't diligent.
Let's see. Okay, here. Oh, okay, here we go.
No.
How did you even read anything? Oh,
it was Word.
Emily. Here. Is that awful lighting? It says Emily something.
Okay, that's all I got too was Emily. Okay, I was hoping that maybe somebody could have super sleuthed that book, but
Emily Queen. It says Emily Queen.
Emily Queen.
Emily Queen.
That. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, she's reading Emily Queen. Let's see if it's
fun fact.
Is it a real book? Like, oh, okay, it is a book. Author of The Case at Barton Manor, Emily Queen, is a writer. Interesting.
Oh, that's the author's name?
Oh, it's kind of like mystery, like novels. Very, very, very interesting. Okay, well, that's what she's reading.
Emily Bronte. I'd be like, stop flexing.
Hold on, let's see who's over here. Hi, Scampi, friend of Elan. Hello. Okay, so hi guys, will you do a live stream update for Love Island? What's really gone on?
I'm not opposed to it. I don't know. I think maybe just like an update on the couples and like where they're at and like where they're living now. Maybe wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
After The Bachelorette's done, maybe like Christmas week. Like,
yeah, I'm gonna be home for Christmas, or not home for Christmas. So, yeah.
But your roommate will probably be gone home kind of thing. So you'd have the place all by yourself again.
Yeah, probably.
You're like excited about it.
Slightly.
Yeah, maybe not next week, but maybe the week after we'll do one. Yeah, that's the only thing that I was like, that's the only thing that I kind of know that's happened.
What? They broke up? No way. I am so shocked.
Not shocked. Hi, Cassandra. How are you? And there's apparently a Zoom reunion happening. Okay, if there's a Zoom reunion happening, we will 100% cover the Zoom reunion.
Oh, yeah.
If not, we will maybe do an update, a couple update on all, maybe even the Bachelorette couple, so we can see what's going on with Claire and Dale. We can see whomever Tayshia chooses, what's going on with them. I know it'll only be like kind of like a week, but like maybe they'll have a press, who knows? And then we'll do all the couples. We'll do like an update of all the couples from Love Island. I can do that. I can get involved in that. That's fun. Carrington is still pretending to be into I can imagine. So it's more advantageous for them to be together than apart at this point, you know?
A for effort.
If they want endorsement deals and all that stuff, like got to be a couple kind of thing. Okay, so Chris shows up, and I was actually surprised that he showed up because I was thinking that he was going to be gone for longer and that JoJo was going to do at least 2 episodes. I think he was only there for 1, if I'm not mistaken. Or was it 2? 1.5?
I think it was 1.5 because they did that how they're breaking it up weird. And I think she was there for like at least the rose ceremony for the beginning of last episode. And then I didn't really see her much after.
Yeah, exactly. And she brought some date cards, I think. Oh, and the 2-on-1, she kind of announced that stuff. So
I didn't mind that though. Like JoJo's definitely my top 5 favorite Bachelorette. So
yeah, I like JoJo a lot, and I think she's just so pretty.
I know. Like she's just like when I'm looking at her, I'm like, she's so like fun to look at. Like she's just very attractive.
So pretty and like just so likable.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watched her show, but she has a show on YouTube with Jordan where they basically they find people that have like maybe a shed or like a barn on their property and they turn it into a rental space. And so they just do like a home renovation. They put the money in, but then they negotiate with the people like how much money they will make off of them renting it for, say, like, I don't know, $700 a month or whatever. Like they'll pay them back for the renovation. So that's like the show they have. It's pretty good.
I don't know about that. She does like interior design and he does like the construction side.
Well, I've seen her with like some stuff, but yeah, he's more so doing like the construction stuff. And
I'm gonna have to watch that.
But she gets her hands pretty dirty. Like she gets in there. And
do you watch oh my gosh, the one with Chip and Joanna Gaines? Chip and Joanna Gaines. They're like the couple. They're in Waco, Texas. You haven't? Oh my gosh. Okay, you have to watch it on Hulu. It's so good. But she also gets her hands dirty, but she's mostly like interior design, but it sounds similar.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen that one, but I feel like I know of that couple. Like I feel like they are very famous.
Yeah, she has like her own line called Magnolia, like in Target, like for like blankets and throw pillows and candles and books, things like that. But they're a very good couple. Biracial couple.
Oh, I definitely don't know who they are actually at all.
Well, Asian and white.
Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna look it up maybe and to see what that's all about because I don't really know that much about like home design shows and like HGTV and all that stuff. Like I'm not really like I like it, but I'm not really that into it. So
fun fact: every night at the hospital, like no matter what time of the night it is, I work night shift obviously, but like 2, 3, 4 in the morning, the one channel that's on everyone's TV that everyone's watching is HGTV.
Hilarious. I didn't know.
There's like 40, 50 channels because we have like probably like 40, 50 inch screens in each of the rooms and like everyone's watching HGTV, no matter the age, the sex, like everyone's watching.
That's hilarious. Okay, so you're well versed in HGTV. That's so funny.
Yeah, but I'm like waiting for them in the bathroom, just like watching TV.
Well, maybe there should be like a reality TV station. I guess that's Bravo. Like you'd think that you guys would be watching Bravo.
Yeah, Bravo. A few people watch Bravo like when the Kardashians are on, but for the most part, everyone just stays on HGTV.
It's probably because you don't have to pay that much attention.
Yeah, and they're like waking up and falling back asleep, and yeah, easy watch.
Matter. Okay, so while Chris shows up at the door and sits down and talks to Tayshia, they talk about, obviously taking his son to college, and then asked, where's Bennett? And so, because we're kind of left over at a cliffhanger a little bit with Bennett coming back to go and confess his love for Tayshia because he basically wants back on the show. I didn't hear what you thought about how Bennett did that and him coming back on the show, or potentially, anyways.
I think it bothered me, especially because I knew she wasn't going to take him to hometowns. Like, I already knew that wasn't going to be the case. I already knew the 4 guys she was going to take. So it bothered me that it just seemed like a very forced storyline. And I think I would have, like, the way Bennett went out initially, like on the 2-on-1 versus Noah, I would have, like, I don't know, thought, like, more highly of him if he just would have stayed that way versus, like, coming back, like, wasting 30 minutes of, like, airtime. I mean, maybe they didn't have enough, like, filler stuff, and so they were, like, trying to, I don't know. It was a boring storyline for me, honestly.
A little bit. And look who's here, Sherad. Hey, nice seeing you again. We're talking about the fact that maybe we'll do a little Love Island reunion recap on the couples, or all of them are love couples from 2020, summer 2020 and fall. So if you're interested in following us for that, in a couple of weeks, we'll be posting that live as well. But how have you been? What have you been up to? Have you been moving along in anything?
Updates?
You know you can't say even if you had, but we could still try. You can give us that wink, 2 winks. So Blake has a one-on-one with Tayshia. Did you see a date card at all, or no?
The last episode, he was excluded from the group date card. So
that you knew,
yeah.
Right? Because I was like, I haven't seen a date card. I do like the date cards, like the stupid, like, let's make a run for love.
Yeah.
Like, let's our hearts soar.
Like, I like seeing the pretty handwriting, and that's on every date card for every. I want to know who the designated, like,
calligraphy artist
is, because I love her handwriting, or his.
It's probably her. It seemed quite feminine, but you never know. You never know. So they're 2-on-1. And was there any part of you that thought that she was going to keep Blake after this 2-on-1 date?
And to be honest, no. And to be honest, I think that's kind of how I would have sent him home too, like, away from everyone else. I wouldn't have done it to him at a rose ceremony, because he is very emotional, very, I just wouldn't, like, I think he really did fall hard for Claire because of, like, the pre-gaming. So I wouldn't have wanted him to go out, like, just at a rose ceremony. I'd probably do it on, like, 1-on-1. Give me enough, like, reason to have an excuse, like, hey, this isn't gonna work. Like, I don't know. I think the way she went about it was good. I never in a million years thought that he'd get a rose on that date. I knew he was going home, like, on that date.
Hundo. So Sam says, I know this is irrelevant to The Bachelorette, but I love Stelly's vlogs. Her personality gives me life. I love her vlogs too. I do watch them. Have you been watching them or no?
She sang a song by Billie Eilish recently, because I subscribed to her during, like, once you and I figured out that she, like, had a freaking voice. Yes. And so I don't watch all of them, but like, if the title interests me, so I watched her sing Billie Eilish because I love Billie Eilish, and she actually did a really good job.
Which song does she sing from Billie Eilish?
I Don't Want to Be You Anymore.
Well, I don't know that one, but
it's a good one.
To sing that kind of thing, like, with that kind of voice, like, you can, like, get
kind of raspy, kind of. Yeah. So I saw Billie Eilish. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm watching this cover.
I saw it pop up, but I haven't watched it yet. So I'm definitely gonna watch that. But back to The Bachelorette. So Sam, oh my God, the staring with
I, like, even if that was the love of my life, I think I'd have a hard time doing that. Like,
no,
it's just so, like, I mean, I get it. Like, maybe if I was, like, in the moment and there with, like, a tantric Reiki, or I think she called herself Reiki, then maybe, like, I would be more into it. But just watching it, I'm like, dude, even if she was sitting there with Brendan or, like, Ben or Ivan, I just don't think, I don't know, maybe it's because I know the cameras are on, but that would give me more than enough excuse to be like, it's not there. Goodbye.
Well, so I'm watching. So Gita was, it seems like she was a shaman, but she announces herself to be a Reiki master and crystal master.
Yeah.
And for what she was doing, though, is like, I'm one like step away from being a Reiki master, and so I've never really seen her methods before. And so I think that she might have been, I don't know if it's something else that she offers or whatnot, but it's not necessarily in alignment with what I know to be Reiki masters and crystal healers.
Right.
I definitely found this date to be interesting. I would have loved this date. It's definitely was spiritual. You know, I do like aligning the chakras. You know, my next partner that I have, I would love to do like the tantric thing to see if you could experience, you know, things that are a little bit different, a little bit more spiritual, more connected. But I found that he was, for me, too of a non-believer for me to get behind him, like sitting like pelvis to pelvis, staring at each other in each other's eyes. It just, Blake was not the guy that I wanted to watch do this. And I'm sure that Tayshia didn't want to be there with him. You know what I mean?
That exact location of their date holds the record for having two of the most cringiest dates in Bachelorette history. You don't remember the rock wall background when it was Claire?
Oh, right. Oh, another breaking of the rocks, though. So I like that. You know, like
but just I saw the rock wall background. I'm like, ooh, good thing I'll go down here.
Yeah, Jason throwing something at the wall. Like, yeah, no bueno. So what else happened on the date? They got to each pick a crystal, which was nice. Blue is for like the throat chakra, so that made sense about having their voice. The fact that she told them that they had to strip down, I thought was a little bit awkward. It seems as though they must have known they were going to be doing that, because the outfit that Tayshia was wearing, she would never be wearing that underneath the dress that she was wearing. So she fully changed into that outfit to have that lying down, align your chakras type.
Yeah, we're probably like wear bathing suit underneath versus like a thong and a bralette.
Yes, exactly. Jumping ahead, but you didn't see the the bloopers.
I didn't.
Okay, so
I can't wait to watch it after. It's my favorite part of every men/women to all.
So in the bloopers, they actually showed a little bit more of this date, and there was a black box over Blake's crotch when they were laying down and aligning the chakras. So it seems as though he may have got a little bit of a hard on while all that chakra aligning stuff was happening. And
I immediately thought that when she's sitting in his lap, when they're staring into each other's eyes, because one of the guys mentioned that like the only thing Blake talks about is his penis and or getting it in. Exactly. So I immediately thought like, oh, Blake definitely has a boner right now.
Exactly.
Like she's sitting right on top of him, like looking into his eyes. I'd be like, oh, no. Like, especially if I wasn't already like, nope.
Well, she probably already saw him have it beforehand, laying down. He has to sit on his lap after, and she's not into him like that. Anyways, Sherad says, "Yeah, but it's very, very hard, guys." LOL. I wanted to just say things because it's frustrating. Okay, so he seems to be still in the process.
Get it, Sherad.
Hi, Dolores. How are you? Good afternoon, all. Yes, good afternoon to you too, Dolores. Sam says, LOL, someone like Justina Moya couldn't do this. They don't know how to make eye contact. Interesting. Don't say that. Don't say that here. I'm warning you, Sam. Don't say it. Don't say it.
My heart actually hurts, Sam.
Sam says, I can't even imagine how awkward and bad it is to send someone home. I feel for Tayshia. Yeah, I don't. It's too awkward. Like, I've been thinking about breaking up with my agent, and that alone, I'm like, this is like a real breakup, you know? Like I have to like sit them down and be like, yeah, this is not working.
It's not working.
But like it's so awkward. Chantele, you gained some subscribers. I see you. Yes, it's coming. I'm at like around 540.
Dude, and a few months ago you just were at 100, so it's crazy.
I know. It's like kind of like I pick up like 100 a month, but I would like to just up it up just to get to 1,000. Once I'm at 1,000, I mean, obviously I want to keep growing, but at least I will feel as though I've accomplished something for real, you know? And like, I know that the compensation is not going to be that great, but I would love to offer compensation for you guys that have been doing it for the goodness, the kindness of your heart, you know, for all these months. So, you know, if it's like, even if it's like $20 here, $20 there, it's still something. So I would like to share that with you guys that have been my supporters as in my
the OG loyal. What did you call them? The realists? Realists?
I think so. I don't think we ever defined it, but like we'll just call them the realists.
Yeah.
All my realists. All my realists. All my realists. Okay, so anything else happened in that date? Please disrobe. So awkward. She mentions that the heart chakra is cautious. I can imagine that. Like she definitely is. Not Blake's type of thing. We kind of talked about the tantric breathing exercise, super awkward. I was really uncomfortable watching that whole date, even though it's something that I liked, or I would like to do. But I was able to suss out that she doesn't think that Blake is her guy, and like we kind of knew that from when he said like, I don't know, just bear with me, like I'm still getting over Claire. It's like if you're into Claire and you can't get over Claire to be into Tayshia, like. I'd be like, okay, this isn't going to work because this isn't
You know how I think Blake should have gone? I think he should have left how Jason did, because those are the two that were so like bent up about Claire. I think if he would have left when Jason did, he would have had like zero negative editing. Not that he really had any negative editing. It just, to me, it just kind of is like cringy a bit, but
I think he stayed, and this could be, you know, a little bit of a tinfoil hat putting on here, but I think he wanted more airtime so he could be invited to Bachelor in Paradise. Like, I could see Blake going to Bachelor in Paradise. I don't necessarily see Jason. Like, Jason who? Like, 3 episodes? In love with Claire? Like, he's kind of done. So I think that was probably a little bit of an opportunistic moment, but hey man, take your opportunities. Sam says, I was surprised to see how intimate Riley and Tayshia were at the tell-all. I didn't see much of that side in the show. We will get a little bit more into that, Sam. Absolutely. I have some opinions for sure. So Blake wishes that they had more time, but he really sees a future with Tayshia. And I'm kind of like, I don't think he does at all. Like, I didn't feel it. I felt that what Tayshia was saying, like, you know, this isn't working. You know it's not working. But he was kind of pretending still that it was. But I'm happy that it was done. You too?
Yeah, it's been a long time coming.
It's time to go our separate ways, is what Tayshia says, and I was like, "Thank you." I'm tired of the beard. Unfortunately, Canadian Blake. He was your guy, right?
Yeah. I took both Canadians, so Toronto for Chantele. Just kidding, don't.
Not Toronto, right?
I think one was from Calgary, and then one was
Hamilton. He's Hamilton.
Yeah.
Which is not really Toronto. It's maybe
Is it Ontario?
It says Ontario, yes.
Oh, okay.
Sherad asks, I'm off topic, but Chantele, have you done the challenge videos? Want to see who you picked? We have covered the challenge. So we did a draft pick men, a draft pick for the women, and then we did the first episode, and it's probably one of the biggest hits of episodes that we've done so far. It hasn't even been a week yet, and we're already at 2,200 viewers.
I saw that.
People are really enjoying our coverage of the challenge, and the season is great so far. So if you want to go and kind of catch up, my team, I can't remember offhand what my team is, but I have that I can think of.
I know one person.
Natalie, Anissa, maybe Ashley. That's all I can remember right now.
UK Ashley?
Who's UK Ashley?
UK Ashley?
I don't know who that is.
The guy?
Oh no. He's not on 36.
Okay. I didn't know. I wasn't sure.
You haven't watched the first episode of 36?
Okay, so I specifically got like YouTube TV free trial so I could watch it, and it says just watch episode 1, and it's a 1 minute 22-second long video of Ashley. I'm assuming, I don't want to say spoilers, but I was like, why? It's just like her after interview after like the elimination challenge, and there's no episode 1 on there, so no, I have not seen it yet.
You know that you can watch it on MTV.com, right?
Yeah, I know that.
Okay. No, it's a really good episode.
Okay, I'm gonna watch it right after on MTV.com because I like specifically downloaded YouTube TV or like a free trial for it, and I was like, and it's been helpful with Bachelorette too, because I can watch it. I record it. It has like a DVR option on the app, which is super nice. And so I did that for the challenge and the Bachelorette, and it worked for Bachelorette, but it didn't work for the challenge. Huh?
Does it show it live TV as well or no?
Yeah. So like, but I don't have to wait until like 2 a.m. or whatever for it to come on Hulu. I could, as soon as it's done airing, or even during airing, I could just jump in, play from beginning, and then fast forward the commercials. So it's like, it's super nice. But I did it for the challenge, and I don't know why. And I was Googling it, and other people had the same problem. So
bad. I think it's terrible. But yeah, Sherad, you know what? I'm gonna put our list in after I get off of this podcast. I'm gonna put our list at the bottom of it so you can see who we all have. I totally forgot to do that. So thank you, Sherad. I will do that. I definitely felt I had a great team. We'll see how that goes down, though. And the episode is really good, Brazil. It's really good. Sam says yes. I could see through that.
I'm excited.
Blake was gassing up how hurt he was. 24 to 36. He was sad. What does that mean? Okay. Like in his life?
From ages to 24.
Is he 36?
He's 36.
I don't remember. But like Blake, I don't think he really cares. Did I get your boy Corey? I'm not a Corey fan. I don't think I have him on my team. I don't remember picking him. No, I don't have Corey. I don't have Josh. I don't think I have Fessy. I don't think so. Fessy's not mine. He was, I think, Fanta's. Anyways, back to the Bachelorette. Oh, 24 to 36 hours. Yeah.
Oh, I was like, what?
Like, get out of here, Blake. I don't buy that you're that into Tayshia, but you know, if you want just to have the Instagram followers, all that jazz, I'm okay with it. It's fine. So, and oh yeah, he was like, oh, I didn't see that coming. I was like, you saw that coming. You knew that you didn't have a connection with her. Like, come on, Blake, please. Anyways, that's over. She was really crying a lot though, and I think it's just because like she had to break up with people, because I don't think she was that into him, but she was really upset. And she was really sorry. She kept on saying, I'm really, really sorry over and over and over again. All right. So then after she kind of like sits down, after she lets Blake go, she walks him to the car, more tears and hugs. And I'm sorry. She goes and sits down on a little bench, like a random bench at La Quinta. And she comes to terms with there's something else that she needs to do. So she goes and shows up where all the guys are. And she sits down and she's kind of crying in front of them. And it's a little bit awkward because like, I think it was Ben was just kind of like patting her on the back. And she's just like, oh, this is so hard. I'm crying. And then she's like, Riley, I need to talk to you. I was like, oh boy. What do you think? I
think it kind of all hit her at once. Wait, what'd you say?
Go ahead.
No, I said, I was sorry. I was like thinking as you asked me that. I think that it kind of all hit her at once. And to be honest, I think I would have gone about it the same way that she did, in the sense of like not dragging it out to a rose ceremony kind of thing, and just hitting the nails on the head and being like, look, like I owe you the respect to tell you like it's not going to work. like kind of alone privately, have them like, you know, leave without a bunch of guys watching. Like, can I walk you out? Like, you know what I mean? It's just, but Riley was growing on me, and I don't think I could never date someone like him, but I would want to be friends with someone like him because I feel like you would get like very honest advice. I don't know. He seems like a very like straightforward guy, but like obviously guarded. I think it's just he's gone into a little bit about how he's grown up and things like that. But I don't know. I felt worse for Riley leaving, like tenfold worse than I did with Blake.
Absolutely. Well, as soon as she called him his name, I was like, "Ooh, that's the kiss of death!" Like,
yeah, especially because look who's sitting there. Like, you know, it's just, I don't know. It's nothing against Riley. I think if Riley and her maybe met organically, like at a bar or something, like I think they would have gone a lot farther than they did in this process, being surrounded by so many other guys with different personality types. But
well, I actually don't think though that she would have been into him if they met in a bar. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't know if his swagger is what she vibes with. And I think that that's why they didn't end up working out, is because for me, he comes off too closed off, too much like peeling away these layers. Like he must have something going on that he's really not wanting to share. And like when they're having their conversation, the first thing that he asks is, "What am I missing?" And I wanted to respond for her, being like, well, you're missing being able to be open and want to get to know me on a deeper level more quickly. Like everybody else, they were able to share with her how they felt. And he wasn't capable of doing that. So that is what he's missing, the vulnerability, the capability of being open and honest and trusting that he could be that way with Tayshia. And so now he's going to feel like, oh, like he was open and honest and it didn't work out because he said something like, the end is always the same. Well, it's always the same because you're going about opening up with people the same, being like, okay, I'm going to be great, guarded, and then finally I'm going to open you up, but it's too late. It's too late.
I feel like I feel like I'm more empathetic towards him because I feel like I'm similar, not as intense, but like kind of similar. So I feel like I have more, like I feel for him a little bit more. But that's what I when I say I think that they maybe would hit it off like in a different circumstance, is because I think Tayshia likes being challenged a little bit, and I think that he's different in that sense, like. That she's gonna have to actually like work to get him to open up, which is, well, at least to me too. I think that's kind of like a challenge, and I like challenges. So I don't know, but to each their own.
Well, I mean, yeah, sure, you like a challenge, but it's also like I wouldn't be trusting Riley with my heart because he's not, in my opinion, he's not capable of really being fully open and honest and vulnerable in those kind of moments. And so I don't think super guarded. Exactly. I don't think we'd have like the deep connection that I would to have if I was going to be having a partnership relationship. So if I was like 21 and we're dating, you know, maybe I'd be interested in the partner that's like, oh, just fun and like not going to really have a deep committed relationship. But I think if she's looking for a partnership, I don't think that they progressed emotionally quickly enough for her to be able to say, yes, you are the guy that I want to spend the rest of my life with. And so that's what's missing, Holly, is that you didn't open up quickly enough for her to feel confident in your relationship moving forward. That's it.
Agreed.
All I said was like, well,
I wonder too if it's like an East Coast thing, because I know even from watching like any reality show, I know like East Coast guys typically have a harder time opening up than West Coast, and I don't know what it is. I think it's like you have like a harder mentality, not in a bad way. I mean I love not in a bad way. It's just I feel like people on the East Coast are definitely more blunt. Like that's like one thing. Like you go to New York, if you go to like from like San Francisco to New York, like people always say like, oh my God, people in New York are so mean, or like this and that. But I think it's just a different like kind of mentality there than it is on the West Coast. And she's She's a West Coast gal.
Well, yeah, I think that there's probably a little more reservedness in the mentality of East Coast people. Sherad says, because I'm from the East Coast, girls here are tougher here in New York.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Girls. I think it's just different mentality.
Harder to love here. I can see that a little bit, but that's the thing, is that I wouldn't be invested in this scenario with like trying to like crack open this guy and see somebody that I want to have a committed relationship with, when there's people that I am connecting with that I don't have to work that hard to see a potential in our relationship. So I got why she was doing it. I did feel bad because, you know, anytime someone opens up and they don't get the girl, I feel a little bit sad, but hopefully he's going to learn and grow as opposed to like push back and shut off, you know? Hope so.
I think it shouldn't be. I think it shouldn't be left unsaid that he, like, I think Claire would have taken him far had she had a normal season, and Tayshia did take him farther than a lot of other guys. So I think there is something there with him. He's just got to maybe work on himself a little bit in order to open up more to secure the bag at the end of the day.
He has to open up. Vulnerability is what's really attractive. And so like, I didn't necessarily like all like the vulnerability moments. Like I didn't like Ben's moment last week. I thought it was a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, I was going to ask how you felt about that.
I thought that I didn't think that the getting naked made sense to me about his eating disorders. It didn't seem to correlate, but okay, if that's how he wants to hopefully, you know, feel empowered. Okay. And I just didn't feel comfortable for her hearing him share about suicide and stuff like that. I thought it's just a very sensitive subject, and I just didn't know. I was uncomfortable watching it, and it could definitely have been a trigger for a lot of people watching. And so, I mean, I hope that he's healed and, you know, has gotten a lot of help with his emotions in that sense. But I did feel it was a little bit too much for me.
Do you feel though that like all of that, because okay, if you really think about it, like each season I feel there's one person that kind of opens up and brings light to like a, I don't know, controversial, or not controversial, but like trigger warning topic. Do you think that that's kind of something they try to do to like normalize certain situations, the producers, or do you think it's like all organic? Because there's been a few times where I'm like,
the producers,
I feel that it's like sincere from the person, but like I don't know. I don't know. It just makes
know about the situation. They definitely know that they've had that experience, and I'm sure that they encourage them to share that experience with Tayshia. As I don't think that they necessarily are doing it to shed light, but I think that it's kind of a dramatic moment. You know what I mean?
Well, and I feel like if it relates to someone in the audience, it makes them more drawn to the show or to that person. It kind of like connects people.
I just feel
differently than like it is. But that's what makes me wonder, like, how much of it is organic, how much of it is like, I don't know. That, but you know, this is the first season that's made me think that, because other people that have like, who was it? Oh gosh, what's her name? In Colton season, she was talking about like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like sexual abuse.
Kaylin.
Yeah. And so that during then, I didn't feel like that. I was like, that is like something that happens so often. Like that, to me, that's like something very common to bring up kind of thing. Not that suicide isn't, but I don't know, for whatever reason, this time around, it made me kind of be like, I don't know.
I think also because we had Zach also share, like, going through a lot of personal demons. You know, I feel like it's just
true.
I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe it's because it's men sharing all these things. We don't usually hear men sharing about these type of things on the show. I'm not sure, but I definitely felt uncomfortable by it. And I was hoping that he still is getting help and work through that, because I don't think that she's going to choose him in the end. And I hope that he's not going to be heartbroken, and it kind of derails maybe any growth that he's had towards his own self-healing. So I was just
I think he's going to be the next Bachelor.
You think?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so at all.
I do.
I don't think that he's a fan favorite.
Really?
Mm-mm. Sherad said, oh, this is about New York versus West Coast. So girls call us soft if we show emotion and open up here, LOL. I think, though,
yes, I think that's something to do with it.
Of this show, though, I think that you would be a little bit more open than Riley was. Riley was completely closed. And even when he says, I'm hurt. Like, you know, I don't really hurt. Like, I'm really upset.
Chantele.
I'm sad. I'm upset.
I feel really badly today. You really pissed me off.
I've gone through a lot.
Chantele. Right, Riley would have JoJo's voice on Big Brother.
So definitely I feel as though you know, he just doesn't he's not emotionally connected. I get like not being too soft, and I understand that culturally maybe it hasn't been acceptable for him to show emotion. I get that, but then I also totally get that you know, she wasn't able to connect with them moving forward, and it could be culturally for him growing up. He didn't share his emotions that way, but it doesn't connect with what she needed from him in the show to be able to say that you're going to be my husband. So sorry, Riley.
Yeah, not when she's along with other guys.
Absolutely. So I was really surprised that there were going to be a rose ceremony without having the cocktail party. So why did Blake and Riley kind of get cut before the cocktail party or for the rose ceremony? And then you have basically Bennett who shows up. I agree with Bennett. Like, if I showed up there, I would have thought that she was going to be keeping him.
That's why the Bennett storyline, like, irritates me, I think, is how are you going to send home two other guys? And I don't consider that to be a rose ceremony. I consider it to be a plot twist and dramatic, which it wasn't. Like, we all knew she was going to pick Bennett over the other four. So to me, that's probably what put me to sleep.
Sherad says black fellas get showed no love on this show, LOL. Well, I think the black men that they choose to be on the show or that choose to go on the show don't necessarily resonate with the lead. So I think that there could be a perfect person for Riley that they would be at the same pace and like how their love story would unfold would be perfect. But I think that they just wasn't a good match for Tayshia specifically. And so I just don't think that the producers know how to cast black men that are going to suit the leads of their show. It's just they don't know what that
or black women, I feel, either.
Exactly. Other than white, they're learning right now as to how to be more encompassing and diverse in their casting. There's a lot of growth needs to happen. Sam says, yeah, keep in mind white guys.
They could.
Sorry?
Oh, sorry, there's a lag. Sorry, keep going.
So Sam says, yeah, keep in mind white guys outnumber the amount of people of color. Absolutely. I think that there probably isn't that many black people auditioning to be part of the process. And then I would assume that majority of the people in casting and production of the show are probably not diverse. And so they just don't know how to cast diversity, really. Yes, Riley is good.
That's what I was going to say. Like, it's one thing to like have the lead be diverse, but then if you don't cast people that would actually like do well with them, then it's kind of a moot point because you want to see a happy ending at the end, not just like not everyone being like, oh my gosh, there's a black bachelor, there's a black bachelorette. It's like, but you know, like do better at casting the potential men or women to set them up for success better. I don't know. It just, I think, yeah.
Well, and I forget who was talking about, maybe it was Sandman we were talking about it. I talked about it with you for sure with Love Island, but having people being cast in the show that are open to dating other races and backgrounds. Like, you know, have you ever dated a person of color before? have you had a long-term relationship with someone that's outside of your race? Like, these are questions that at this point need to be asked, because just because they're attractive doesn't mean all Black people are going to like all Black people, just as all white people don't like all white people.
Has your family ever been uncomfortable about a certain like ethnicity that you brought home? Like, that's also another big one.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's deeper questions they could be asking in order to make the casting process more efficient. But you said, even for Big Brother, it's like you have like those editors or those producers that have been there forever, and you think there needs to be more diversity there, which I totally agree with. So
behind the scenes, diversity needs to happen also in order for it to be reflective on our TV screens.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So Sherad is asking, though, you guys think that you're getting better with it, though, with the diversity? I do think they're getting better. I mean, they're taking more risks. Yeah. You know, Tayshia, thank goodness, was saying, like, no matter what, she's really happy with this opportunity that she had. And so she was able to, she didn't really look at it being like she was second best or whatnot. So that's really great. But I do think, you know, with having her and then having Matt James, they're both mixed, I believe, but like still a little more diversity. So hopefully there's going to be more intermingling with different races, and maybe on Bachelor in Paradise there might be more faces to look at. I do think they're getting better, but I think that the work starts in behind the scenes, and I don't know if that's gotten better. I think everybody still has their job and nobody new has been hired.
Yeah, it's gotta be systemic change, I think, like within the company.
Sherad says, you guys are right. The Black guys that are on there aren't like me. Exactly. They don't got the sauce like Game, you know? Like, I wouldn't be into Riley either. I don't even think I'd be into Ivan. Like, those are like, you know, very attractive men. They have great jobs and kind people, but I don't think that I would be like, ooh, he's my guy, you know? So
yeah, you know. Ivan's a bit too soft personality wise for me, but I'm not saying he's not a great guy, and there's not a lot of females out there that I think he'd be great with, just not me personally.
He definitely would not be for me at all.
But he's still one of my favorites on my team.
I love him. I want him to do well. And
I love him.
Cute relationship. Unfortunately, I don't think he's going to be with Tayshia either. But I think he's going to get a really good girl after this whole series is done. I think he's going to be a hot commodity.
Oh, yeah. He's going to go on Bachelor in Paradise and just get eaten alive.
So Bennett shows up before the non-cocktail party, so before the rose ceremony, he kind of sits down with his short pants and no socks. Such a cad, like, I'm such a suave guy.
Which is Sandman says that's the reason why my Jordan M went home week 1 is because of his pants. But here's Bennett coming back.
It was this much of his ankle, okay? Like, Bennett's was like this. I just noticed it because, like, he walked in and then he's crossed his leg.
I would take that as
it was this. It was 1 foot, like it was at the bottom of his calf. Like it was not good. It was not good.
I'm not letting go of my Jordan. He's in Venice or Santa Monica. I will find him.
Go find him and give him back his ankle, like.
I'll take him to a tailor.
Yeah. Dolores says, I agree with the statement. I'm just not that into you. Sorry. Yeah. She wasn't that into him. And that's just the thing, unfortunately. And it sucks though, because like I know that Tayshia's probably getting a lot of heat that she's gravitating towards more of the white men. But from the vibes that she's getting from them is something that she resonates with. And so I don't think that they did a due diligence of finding multicultural men that she was going to vibe with. You know what I mean? And she's also probably more comfortable growing up in
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it has to do with like, yeah, but no, sorry. I think there's a lag, so I feel like I keep cutting you off. I'm sorry. I was gonna say nature versus nurture. Like, look how she continues to say she was brought up, and that. So I think for her, for anyone, you can't just look at them and be like, oh, they look like this, they should act like this, or they look like this, they should pick that person. It's not really how it
like. Do you know how
actually works in real life?
Be like to me like, Oh my God, I have someone to introduce to you. Like, oh my God, you're gonna love them. They're so great. And I'm like, why? Like, what are they, black? And she's like, yeah, but like, I mean, they're just great people, great guy. And like, A, I don't find them even physically attractive. And B, like, just because they're black means that I'm gonna like think that they're amazing for me. And like, I'm gonna be like, I still have, you know, people that I vibe better with that are for other reasons other than just the background, you know. Though I do have a friend,
no, I'm
black guys.
Personality first. You what?
I have a friend, white friend that only dates black guys. But so
I have a few also. Like that's just their type, like whatever. But
so Sherad says,
yeah, exactly. Yes.
People grew up, personally, I grew up in an urban area. Exactly. I grew up in all like white Jewish neighborhoods. So that's all I know really. That tells a lot. Absolutely. And so for me, like personally,
yeah.
I'm too white for black guys and I'm too black for white guys. You know what I mean? So I've always kind of lived in that limbo of not really being seen as attractive to anybody really. And so she might have a little bit of that as well. She's not met many black men that is into her because she's not what they're used to. You know what I mean? So I'm sure that she goes through that as well. What are you looking at? Oh, I thought you were frozen. So you were frozen. I thought you were looking up something. No?
No, Big Brother.
Oh no. We are playing in a Big Brother online game right now. So I wonder what's going on. What is going on? Okay, so basically, you're putting your I saw like Zach kind of flips out on Bennett. Bennett comes down and kind of puts his hand on Zach's shoulder. He's like, "What are you putting your hand on me for?" I was surprised about Zach's kind of retort there. Because I didn't think that he was had that much hate towards Bennett, but whatever, you know.
I think it's just probably the frustration. I would be equally as frustrated if I was one of the four guys that like, and that's the one thing about this group of guys too. I think the ones that have like always had respect for each other from the beginning have been able to maintain that respect across the board, like regardless of what has happened. And so I think it's made them more attractive to me in my head, because usually I feel like when it comes down to like the final four, two of the four hate each other, or like, you know, there's like always like this big drama, but right now it's kind of like best man wins kind of thing. And I think that they all know that Bennett's probably there just for show. And the amount of times this season that they've had someone else come in, whether it be new guys because Tayshia's the new Bachelorette, or like Claire not giving them any attention, I feel like I understand more of where the lashing out is coming from, because I think I would probably get to that point too. So
especially if it's like supposed to be, I would probably think like if Bennett's there that she must like him enough to want to give him a rose, and so maybe I'd be second guessing like my position as well.
Right.
I hear you.
Right.
I hear you. I just was.
The fact that she just like didn't give him a rose was just so. Even I would be even more frustrated. Like if I don't know, it just didn't. None of it made sense. I think that was a bad call on the producers. Don't come for me. I've never been a Bennett stan, but I would have been more so if they didn't bring him back in this way for seemingly nothing.
Absolutely. Well, apparently he got a note saying that she wanted to see him again, and she like all the things that he said to her really resonated, and so she wanted to see him again. And so at the rose ceremony, and I was like, why bother though? Like if you're just going to send him home. So he seems pretty confident that he's going to be staying, because like why would she bother doing that? Well, now we're finding out that it's probably because the producers just wanted him to have one last showing. But she felt really confident in her decision. She didn't need to have a cocktail party, and she didn't choose Noah and Bennett. We called that weeks ago. We knew that it wasn't like the 2-on-1. We just thought they're both going home, which would have made no sense. I find it interesting that they sped up the season, though. I feel like they sped it up by at least 1 week.
They did, and that's what I was talking to Rachel about. I was like, how did this season go so fast? And she was like, you have to remember the first 2.5 weeks were all about Claire. So we were trying to figure out whether or not it sped up or just seemed sped up, because we had 2.5 weeks of completely useless, annoying television.
Well, she started off with less guys, so it wouldn't be sped up in the sense of like. Pardon?
She did. You're right. Well, is the amount of guys she started with after they brought in like Spencer, Noah, and
I think
is that's less than the amount of guys you would end up with on night one?
So I started with 31.
31 after night one?
I don't know. After night one, she maybe let go of 6, but she still had high 20s.
So, okay, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, so like after like letting go the first round of people, yeah. So Tayshia still had less, because I think she
could be considered 2 episodes less of guys going home. You know what I mean? So
right. I don't know. Yeah.
So Sam says it's annoying to hear that people expect black people always to go with black people. It's unfair to them and it limits their options to explore all options from the get-go. Absolutely. Rachel got a lot of flack for the fact that she didn't date or choose a black man, especially since she's very, very pro black people, black rights, how black people are treated in this franchise. And so like they're kind of like coming for her. And it's kind of like, well, she also doesn't want to stop love. You know what I mean? Like
she's not, if she feels that strongly with in other areas, what makes you think she's gonna like be like, oh, I'll just like pretend for America that like I'm gonna choose someone else that I don't have like as strong of a connection with. Like For me, that made me respect her more, not because she didn't pick someone of her color, but because she went against everyone else and was like, no, I'm gonna do what's right for me. Like that's the entire point of being the lead is
and people that you might never meet, because she said that she's never dated outside of her race before.
Yeah.
And look at that, when she did, she actually found who she feels confident is her true love, life partner.
And are they still together?
Yes, and married.
All right then.
Exactly. And
everyone sit down. It's not like they broke up a week after, or like he actually wasn't into like black women. Like that isn't the case. So I could see maybe the argument if it didn't fold that way, but it didn't. They're still together. They're happy. She's still speaking about what matters to her. Leave her alone.
Exactly. So Sam says, I personally remember getting shipped with a guy who had a similar dark complexion as me when I wasn't even attracted to him. Exactly. Just because he was my skin tone, people assume I should like him. It's so bizarre, to be honest. Like, it's very, very silly.
I think it's a definition of like racism.
Kind of.
Like, come on.
Very silly. Okay, so Noah was crying in the car. I was surprised that he was crying. You know,
he doesn't like to lose. He's a mama's boy.
Yeah.
He follows all the rules. I hate being a travel nurse. I actually fucking hate it.
Why? Because he's part of your industry?
I don't want to be
actually a good guy. I think he's just really young.
No, but he would be the typical like fucking traveler, like to come into the hospital and be like, oh, I'm like the traveler, like, oh, I'm hot shit. Because travelers get paid so much. They don't get benefits, but they get paid like $20 an hour more than the rest of like the full-time staff. Ooh. So there's a ton of like TikToks and memes of like, it's like of like different types of nurses, like, oh, the cool one at like report, or like the angry one at report, or the traveler. And whenever it's the traveler, it's like them walking in with like Louis Vuitton and Gucci and like, just like throw them, like, because they get paid so much and they get a stipend to like live in whatever city that they're living in. So it's obviously there's like less glamorous parts about it, like moving hospital to hospital and like trying to figure out, where you fit in every time. However, you make a lot of money, and I could see him being like that fuckboy traveler.
Why wouldn't you give that give that a try?
Be a traveler? I have a dog.
Oh, fair.
And my like family means, not that family doesn't mean as much to him, but I'm already struggling living like 400 miles away from my family. So, and I've traveled my entire life up until high school. So I think I'm kind of calmed down now, but ideally, like it's a good way to go. If you don't have any ties, it's the best thing to do in nursing, travel.
I would like if I were in nursing, that would be the type of nurse I would
Yeah,
be.
no, so it's funny. There's a lot of flight attendants that either become travel nurses or vice versa.
Like, it's kind of like a really good idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and you get paid. I mean, you get paid well. Like, for example, like say I was on call, like in the OR or something, I would probably get paid. Well, because it's time and a half. I don't know. I could probably get paid like $80 an hour versus a traveler who would get paid like $120 an hour. So it's like they make a lot more money, but because like they don't get benefits, whatever.
Hi, John. Thanks for joining us. So Reality Realness sounds like you might be interested in this video. You might be into something they cover. I'm probably not going to click on that, but if you can tell me what it is.
Here, I'll do it. I'll take one for the team. I'll tell you whether or not you should delete the comment.
I'm like, it sounds like porn, but you never know. Okay, so just back to this episode. So Bennett was kind of wished that things were different. He didn't really want to go. I felt a little bit bad for him because I think his ego was bruised again when she could have just let him go and just be like, listen, like, I can hear what you're saying, but like, I don't think it's going to work out with my connection that I have with other guys, and just not let him come back. The men tell all. I thought the set looked pretty good, but I was missing the fact that, you know, there was no audience in there. So that was my vibe about the men tell all. Chris Harrison seems to love Ed. What do you think about Ed?
He was like, I felt it was inappropriate that Chris Harrison was laughing at Ed roasting Chasen.
Right?
Did you feel that way too?
I was just like, Chris.
Normally Chris is just like kind of like nodding along, like, you know, has his cards, like, but he was full on laughing, and it made me, because Chasen wasn't there, correct?
No.
It made me uncomfortable that Chris Harrison was kind of like enabling that, because to me, if someone's not there to defend themselves, yeah, I think exactly. It's kind of not bullying, but it's kind of like you're like, for someone like Chris Harrison who gives everyone, like, who he doesn't do it often, gave Yosef like the chance to redeem himself a little bit in the public eye. He kind of just like openly roasted Chasen. Maybe he was mad that Chasen didn't come. Like, yeah. So he could have been like, you know, F this guy, like, I'm going to take like Ed's side. I don't know. But that rubbed me the wrong way. And I don't know why, because I don't even like Chasen.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't like that either. I'm not a big fan of Ed. And so to see that Ed was being, you know, glorified for like his comments and stuff like that. Damar did ask, like, how could Ed know that Chasen, you know, wasn't being genuine just because he used the same kind of verbiage with.
I think that they were roommates.
Pardon?
I think Chasen and Damar were roommates.
Oh, so he probably just was like hearing how he was talking about them. So I like
how I think he was like, dude, you don't even really know this guy. Like, I spent a lot of time with Chasen, because, and that's the other thing that I talked to you in Sandhurst about, like, week 1, that I felt this wasn't the normal organic experience you get with a bunch of guys sharing the same living space, because they're all kind of like paired up in roommates. So it almost was like the guys that were roommates already are going to have each other's backs over anything else. Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of where Damar was coming from, because it's true. Like, you don't really get to know someone as well as you do if you're sleeping 2 feet away from them in mm-hmm. a full-size bed in a luxury resort. So I can see why Damar was sticking up for Chasen, and it makes me think that Ed is just saying all of this because Chasen's not there. And then Chris Harrison laughed, and it was just, I was like,
even with like 3 Fs, fraud, fake, phony.
Even though phony spelled with a PH, but he's too dumb to know how to spell. Like, get the fuck out of here, Ed. Like, you're not that smart. You're not that special. Like, I'm sorry.
I definitely.
I don't like that he wasn't there to defend himself. I really don't.
I'm also wasn't that plus about the segment between Noah and Bennett. Do you have any thoughts about it? Like, we kind of talked a lot about
it. Right and true. Like, that's what made it boring, is like it. I don't know.
Oh, hello, JoJo. Look at these 2 gorgeous bachelorettes. Well, thank you.
Hi, JoJo.
Thanks for joining us. If you have any thoughts,
Miss you, mean it.
So yeah, all he says was he's an ostentatious Harvard D-bag. I feel as though Noah did look up a bunch of different words or synonyms to be able, or he went to the thesaurus and to be able to comment on what he thought about Bennett because they were used correctly, but I felt as though it was a bit put on.
It was forced. It was forced.
It was funny though. Slightly funny. And oh yeah, they showed a bit more of the blank state with the boner. It was really uncomfortable. They're talking about it being beautiful. The Gita, the woman was like, "Oh, it's beautiful. That's beautiful." Really awkward and uncomfortable. And the joke was, I think, what's his name? Chris Harrison says, Canadians really rise to the occasion, talking about his boner. How gross.
Chris Harrison needed to stay on vacation. He came back too early.
I have no idea what's happening because I don't watch, but I hate Bennett and Noah. Jojo. They suck. You'd probably like Bennett because he talked about his boner. What else? Joseph is back. I can't believe that they gave him the screen time. I was just kind of like, gross. He didn't want to admit that anything that he did, he would take back. And I was actually, it really grossed me out, the fact that he said that when he was asked if someone spoke to your daughter the way that you spoke to Claire, he responded, "Well, if my daughter acted that way, I would expect someone to put her in her place," basically. I was like, oh.
I never in my... I don't know if it's because I have like a very good relationship with my dad, but oh my God, would my dad never in a million years fucking say that.
Right? I was floored.
That, to me, when he said that, I was like, "You're fake." Like, I already knew he was fake and phony, but like, when he said that, I was like, "You're done forever." Like, nothing can ever convince me that you're not trash.
He's the grossest, like gross. Like we already knew that he okay, this not that gross, but like, the fact that he was sending videos jerking off to the wrong people. I really wish that Chris brought it up, just being like, is that a good example to share with your daughter, like on a platform that is pretty much meant.
You're an actual hypocrite.
Say what?
The definition of an actual hypocrite.
Right? Like, I think that sending jerking off videos is a lot worse than people choosing on a date that you're not on to get naked and play volleyball or dodgeball. Dolores has spoken like someone who has no kids or is not a father. I mean, he is a father. That's why
I'm saying no one could pay my dad to say that about me. Like, it never, my dad would be like, "I will literally fuck you up."
Yeah, I mean, maybe he doesn't live with his daughter. Maybe it's just kind of like, maybe he's.
But I feel like that's like an innate like parental, like I don't know. Something's off.
Feel as though his ex-partner is probably like, "I want to have nothing to do with you." Like, so he might just have a daughter that maybe he pays child support for, but like isn't a father figure in their life. It's the only way that makes sense for me that he could speak so poorly of his daughter. But then at the same time,
but don't use it as an excuse to chew out Claire or to like belittle other women that like you're attempting to start something with. Be like, "Oh, I have a kid." Like, don't be holier than thou if you actually don't give a shit about your kid.
I really don't think that he's a father in the sense of like in that child's life, because there's no way that he couldn't have more compassion for what he was doing.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
No sense at all. Sam says he was blaming Claire for the fact that the Bachelor franchise always does this. You shouldn't come on the show. What an a-hole. Absolutely. He was just so gross. Like, and Claire I really didn't think she did anything wrong. Maybe she shouldn't have said the thing about his child, but like,
no, I don't care. I would have lost my shit way faster than she did.
I wouldn't have sat there for 20 minutes with that.
No, absolutely not.
Exactly. True dad just don't do that. He's not a true dad. Exactly. He may have but he's not a father.
No.
Mm-mm. What I mean to say is you can have kids and not be a father. Exactly. And that's 100% how I feel, Dolores, is that there's no way that he could have a daughter and be okay with anybody speaking to them in the way that he spoke to Claire. There's just no way that he could.
It almost seems like that's the way he was brought up, that it's okay to talk to women like that, to the fact that he doesn't realize that like your daughter is going to be talked to like that. So it just makes me think he hasn't been through it because he's used to people talking to women in
any person that I've
like,
dated. I'm always like, oh, I can't wait till they have children and so they can see how shitty they were to me. Like, hey, karma's gonna come back. But with someone like him, like the karma just doesn't exist because they don't have any sort of self-reflection and compassion. So he's a lost cause. I hope he's never on our screen again. They better not invite him to paradise because nobody wants that, in my opinion. Chris even asked him, though, whether or not he wanted to take that opportunity to apologize for anything, and he said no. And I was just like, all I wrote down was gross. He's just gross to me. So Tayshia shows up next and, talks about like the process for her. And they got the phone call when she was eating donuts and like she decided to say yes to the opportunity. And I'm really glad that she did, just because she definitely saved this season. I'm enjoying her journey more than I would have been able to enjoy if they dragged out Claire's season. Like I wouldn't have liked it at all. I would
have stopped watching. Nala's main appearance.
She talks about Noah and Bennett a little bit, saying that she always thought that Noah's going to be in trouble, like little young troublemaker. She likes him better without the mustache, which we all do. And she was upset when she had to let Bennett go in the 2-on-1. But she realized, though, that they weren't exactly there yet, and which is kind of, the sentiment of all the guys she let go of this episode is like she just wasn't there yet. Not to say that they wouldn't get there eventually, but in the time frame, like she wasn't ready to go to that next level and be like, hey, I would be willing to say yes if you propose to me. Nala.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm doing my best, but
how does he feel at his daughter one day to see him acting like that to other women? I mean, what does he say about that? About the man? Yeah, what does that say about the man? Yeah, exactly, Dolores. Like, I would be ashamed personally if I witnessed my father treating anybody in that manner. I'd be ashamed.
He'll I mean, to be honest, I could see it on his face when he answered in that way and everyone reacted the way that they did, and Chris Harrison was like, look, I normally don't do this, but yeah, you do. You could see in his face, I think he realized that he fucked up in what he said. It's just a matter of when he actually feels that what he said was wrong.
It's too much pride, like.
Yeah, a little bit.
Write anything down about Blake's part of this, the men tell all. Riley, she wanted to give him a hug. I didn't really want to listen to Riley's part either. I didn't really care that much. I want Riley to find love, but I don't resonate with his vibe, with his love vibe. It's kind of like he's not making her feel bad, but like, I don't know. I just didn't like the fact, like, oh, I'm sad now because like I opened up and you didn't want me. And it's like, well, you just weren't the right.
We kind of all knew that's how the season was going to end anyway, Riley.
Yes. Like he had to have known that it wasn't going to happen.
That was his character trope of the season, was the guarded, like big bad lawyer.
Exactly. He made it further than I thought he was going to make it, though, to be fair. That was pretty much the men tell all. It wasn't really that juicy. I was surprised that Joseph was brought back because he's so vile. But, hopefully that closes the chapter on him and his 15 minutes here. And the bloopers, I really like Tayshia being kind of silly. She's kind of joking around, like, the flies and like dancing and singing and stuff like that. So she's really cute when she's not being like the Bachelorette. Like, I liked seeing her in her little, offbeat moments. She was cute. She took a leap of faith. And next week is going to be another dramatic episode. So we're going to have an episode tonight. So today is Tuesday, episode 11. And then next week, sorry?
Hometowns tonight, right?
Maybe the beginning of Hometowns. Yeah. And then next Monday and Tuesday, there will be another 2 episodes. So there's 3 episodes left of the season, which will make it a normal length of a season. Most seasons are about 13 episodes. So
including Claire's?
Including Claire's. But we started like advanced with Tayshia. You know what I mean? Like those 3 episodes would have been those 15 men being cut or whatever, 11 men being cut. So, you know, it's still kind of on the same pattern, even though it seems like it should have been one more week, but whatever. And so, yeah, the little after blur, they talk about Chateau Bennett, and, you know, at Chateau Bennett, it's not all about just fancy words and Harvard, but it's also about yoga. And apparently every morning he did yoga and has green juice. So he brought out green juice for everybody in All the Men Tell All, including Chris Harrison. And he gave Noah green juice in a sippy cup. Noah took it really well. It wasn't like a big, like, shitty moment, whatever. I think that now that they're both off the show and they're watching it back, I don't think that they have any actual hard feelings for each other. I think they're both kind of playing a little bit of the role and into the camera and into the storyline. But I think that at this point, now it's kind of jokes for both of them just to keep up this feud, and I think it's kind of done. You don't care for it?
I agree. I haven't seen that part yet.
Yes,
I'm like excited to.
It's not too bad. Sam says, I feel like he kind of blamed her for not wanting and being patient when she's here for herself. Exactly, man. Like, she's choosing what's right for her. It's not like, let's see if like I like what I unfold out of Riley on his time frame when like I want to get married right now. Agreed with you, Sam. Hi, MD. Sorry, I said MD. Ms. Love. Ms. Love says, Riley isn't my type, but it was surprising to see that he and Tayshia seemed to have a deeper connection than I thought. Made him a little more human. And I think it's because he was opening up to her a little bit more than he probably has with a lot of his relationships. You're seeing him even talk about his, you know, his name change and like his parents and stuff like that. Her being compassionate with him in those moments, I think allowed us to like him a little bit more and go deeper with him. And so, yes, it made him more human, but I think it's because she's quite compassionate. I don't think it's because he is that emotionally connected, you know, but wish him the best. Do you guys in the chat have anything else to say? What about you, Brazil? Are you excited for the season to be over?
No, I am still super hard Team Brendan. Yeah.
But you haven't preview yet of the next season episode, right? Should I find it?
I have not. Yeah, wait, can we watch it?
Let me try to find it. Hold on.
Do I have time to use the restroom really fast?
I'm just gonna go on. How about we just end it?
Go ahead.
Well, actually, go while I'm looking. Whatever, it's fine.
Okay, I'll be like 2 seconds. Sorry.
I don't know where I can find it though. So I want to open it. The actual thing. The Bachelorette. Can I spell The Bachelorette? I don't know. The Bachelorette preview. Let's see. I have what I'm looking for. Bloopers. I think this might be it, actually. Okay. All right, y'all. Okay, so hold on. What did you guys say? Dolores says, great review, ladies. Thank you, Dolores. Love having your support. Hi, Annie. How are you? I feel like she knew at that point that she should have let him open up. That she shouldn't have. I mean, I think that that's why she wanted to talk to him, because she knew that he was going to be falling harder for her than she was for him. And so I think she just wanted to like not make him be super embarrassed and hopeful that she was going to give him a rose and meet his family. I think that she just was like, I don't want to have that on my shoulders. Sam says, it's so weird to me that Zach may possibly get the last rose. He's not attracted to me. Agreed, Sam. Not attracted to me either. I'm not into it at all. Me neither. Ms. Love says, I'm Team Brendan too. I like their vibe. Yes, I like Brendan's vibe. I'm worried that he's not ready to propose and that he might not stick around for the final two. He's cute though. And Sam says, I also don't feel him and Tayshia have a strong don't have a strong connection compared to her and Brendan. Yeah, like I'm not into seeing them kiss. And usually if that's the case, there's something off. And so I don't think that she's going to choose Zach, but I'm thinking that he's going to be in the final two, which is, ugh. Let me take this off. Let's get this going.
Little cutie. I love her so much.
Tomorrow night, Tayshia's journey to find continues.
I'm so excited for hometown.
Seeing Tayshia with my family, I felt like I saw a glimpse of the future. I haven't seen him smile that much in a long time. Tonight was the most important night of my life. The way you guys look at each other, there's definitely a connection there. I have these concerns about proposing that I haven't been able to shake.
You love her.
I don't know.
I'm still a big skeptic. It's just so fast.
Where are you at with Zach in comparison to the other three?
I'm definitely falling in love with Zach.
You didn't answer that question.
Yeah, this is not how I thought it was going to end.
I should have told her. This is really real for me.
It's just like a lot. It's like a lot.
And next week, it's the dramatic season finale. Monday and Tuesday, when Tayshia's journey comes to an emotional end.
Oh my God. Fantasy suites are just sweet, and it stresses me out.
I've never felt this feeling, but I'm in love with her. It's strange envisioning her spending the night with another man. It's like the elephant in the room.
When the love is this real, there's a lot to lose.
This thing could be the bomb that just explodes everything.
There's a rose ceremony. What do I do with that? I could be getting engaged. I'm terrified. I have been down this road before. There's a lot of things that I don't want to experience that I have in the past. Oh my God. This stress and anxiety just kind of hit me. What if it didn't work out?
Frankly, I'm worried. I've seen you hurt before. I don't want you to get hurt. I don't want you to make the mistake of your life.
Her dad is my dad. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I'm more excited / nervous about this season finale than I have been in a while.
Yeah, I care. I care about what's going to happen.
I care a lot, and I think that we don't have any spoilers, really. I really think Reality Steve's on ABC's payroll now.
So he just only gives out a little bit?
Uh-huh. This is the first season I'm completely unprepared. I mean, I have like one spoiler that you've shared with me, but for the most part, I don't know. This is crazy.
So, and he says, yeah, I don't see the chemistry with Zach, but she seems to kiss Zach passionately more than Brendan, so I don't know. Well, I think that Zach kind of goes in for these super passionate kisses and she reciprocates. I don't know if she would be initiating those kind of kisses with Zach. And I feel though that there's chemistry and purpose and intention when she kisses Brendan, not just having her face swallowed by Zach, in my opinion. Ms. Love says, you are right, he isn't ready to propose. I know. I don't think that there always need to be a proposal, though, as long as both of them are cool with just committing and giving it more time for a proposal. I hope that's the case. I hope that he doesn't bow out and say, I can't propose, so I'm going to leave the show. I hope that he still goes to the end, but I don't know. I'm worried. I am really worried. So that's all I got. Do you have anything to share with the people? No.
Not gonna jinx anything. Knocking on all the woods for us and our friends.
Well, thank you, Ms. Love. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Annie. Thank you, Dolores. Thank you, JoJo. Thank you, John. Thank you, Sherad. And anybody else I'm missing? Thanks all of you guys and Cassandra and Scampi's friend Elan for joining us today in the chat. Obviously, we love talking about you. Well, there'll be another episode later on this week, maybe tomorrow or Thursday, with Baby Zill and Tanya, talking about the next episodes, the first episode of the Hometowns, which is exciting. Yeah, so thanks for joining us in the chat. We love hanging out with you. Brazil, anything to share?
No. Just like and react with our Big Brother Cheesecake videos. We're not in them directly, but they could be talking about us in the video. So, and I think some of our OG realists have been watching, because last season compared to this season, there's like a lot more viewers. So I know it's weird, and I know you probably don't know what the heck we're talking about, but just give that, little like button or subscribe button if you hear our names. And yeah.
Thank you. Absolutely. Yes, so we're playing an online Big Brother game that we both are previous winners of. We're going back in to see if one of us can at least claim that title again. It's pretty silly, but it still has the structure of regular Big Brother. So there's still gameplay that's happening kind of amongst the silliness of, we'll say, the host and his antics. So please join us. We love, if you want to talk about it, we are definitely into commenting and interacting with you about this game. As Brazil said, please subscribe, get us to 1,000 subscribers. That would be the aim of 2020. It would help us out so much and make us so happy. Thank you. Other than that, that's all I got. We did it in under an hour and a half. What? Say what?